Now, I want to just highlight the fact that the residency issue is not the only problem we've been facing as expatriates. This has been an ongoing issue for many, many years. We've currently got big problems with pensions and superannuation, where the ATO has been suggesting that they're not going to treat them as genuine retirement schemes if you could access it prior to retirement age of 60. They're saying if that's the case, they want to tax you on it as an investment rather than as a pension plan. Interestingly enough, what's happened during COVID is the government has allowed everyone in Australia to be able to access their superannuation, as a COVID booster shot. Now, theoretically, under the ruling that the ATO has given out, that means every single retirement fund in Australia, every single superannuation fund is now not really a superannuation fund, because the ATO's contention is if you can access it prior to retirement, it is not a retirement scheme. So it'll be very interesting to see how they adjudicate that one. Of course, recently we had the big disaster, I call it, the removal of the principal residence exemption, for anyone that lived in their home, regardless of how long that may have been, if they sell it while living overseas. Now, this has been a real bad law and really should be repealed, but we're not having much luck. We managed to get it delayed, but we haven't got it repealed. Now, this is a problem because any expat should not sell their former principal residence while living overseas. You should absolutely sell it when you go back to Australia and are living in Australia, not necessarily in the house, but in Australia. But this is something we need to fight too. And of course, in 2012, we lost the 50% discount on capital gains on investments we held in Australia that were taxable, such as property investments, etc. Now, this was, again, I think, very unfair. It discriminated against people offshore and versus onshore, and was a massive disincentive. It hasn't stopped us investing, but it certainly is unpalatable and unfair. And of course, we've seen big issues on offshore bonuses. If you're transferring back to Australia from working abroad, bonuses and benefits that come in after your return, even if they relate to periods of living overseas, are taxable. That's an issue. And employee share schemes is a whole big can of worms that we're looking at the moment. So there's quite a few issues that we've got to deal with as expatriates, for tax, and these all have to be considered. It keeps my head certainly spinning on a regular basis. But residency is one key element, and it's obviously the issue of the day. So let's have a look and see it. Well, I suppose we'll start with the question of why are they simplifying it? Well, to be honest with it, I think the main reason they're simplifying is because the Commissioner's not getting his own way. The Commissioner has been quite aggressive lately in just dismissing people that have genuine circumstance abroad and are genuine non-residents in order to capture them and try and tax them. Now, he's been losing cases left, right and centre and having a really hard time at great expense to the management, because bear in mind, the ATO usually hires in outside barristers when they have cases. So they're not happy with the results. And instead of abiding by the rulings, they're doing the next best thing for them, which is change the law. We're of course seeing a changing world, where circumstances that were not foreseen many years ago are becoming normal, such as families being apart for various reasons, economic, emotional, at the moment for health. We're seeing people being able to work remotely, so it doesn't really matter. You can take extended periods of travel because being away from the office isn't as difficult as it used to be. And of course, we were, up until COVID, a highly mobile society. Personally, I used to travel 30 odd weeks of the year. That seems crazy now. I can't remember what it was like to hop on those things called airplanes. It's just like an old-fashioned thing now. But, we would hope that sometime in the not distant future that mobility returns. Otherwise, we might not have any aircraft, but we'll see what goes on. But all these issues have changed it, and the tax office has been slow to adapt, and that hasn't helped. And as a result, they think the old rules are becoming obsolete because they don't want to, morph into the future. Now, interestingly, the Board of Taxation called their report the modernisation of residency rules. So they're trying to lead from the front and get the ATO to follow, but they're doing it with some common sense and a little bit of, I think, problematic, positioning. But they're the main reasons why they're looking to simplify.